Public Affairs programming on WQPT is brought to you by the Singh Group at Merrill Lynch, serving the wealth management needs of clients in the region for over 25 years.
A new year, new hopes, but some old challenges. We talked with two mayors about the agenda for 2018, and we found a tour guide for you if you want to scout out the Eagles in the cities. Moline and Rock Island are enjoying relatively good times. That's not to say there aren't budget challenges. There are. That's not to say both cities need a boost in residential development. They do. And it's not to say they won't face tough decisions in the next 12 months. They will. Tonight we talk about the good and some of the not so good. And joining us is the mayor of Moline, Stephanie Acree, and the mayor of Rock Island, Mike Tomes, both finishing your first year in office. And Stephanie, let me start with you. I mean, in the past year, what did you learn? I mean, what was because there's always a learning curve to the job. What was the biggest thing that you had, the biggest hurdle perhaps that you had to overtake?
Well, you know, I have been exposed to most of the players because I've been on the council for 6 years. And so I was fairly comfortable with who I needed to contact for help. But I think probably one of the most interesting things for me were the appointment responsibilities to all the different commissions and committees and understanding what's going on with each one of those groups and what their focus is and how to best bring new people onto those organizations.
And Mike, your background is of course business, so I mean, what did the mayor's office bring to you this year?
It brought me learning a little more about patience. Things don't happen quite as fast as you think, as they would in most private businesses and controlling. So trying to learn patience. The other is learning what people do at city halls. As Stephanie talked about, is learning the different committees and their roles. Mine was also with the staff. Trying to learn what responsibility who has, and so I can talk more intelligently with them and how I can help them.
Well, Rock Island, the big issue right now, of course, is the tax increase that has been proposed and accepted. I know that you're trying to explain it to the citizens who are saying what is going on here. Yeah. And in a great deal that with the budget a shortfall and state funding once again, it seems like you're really laying it on the table once again on the state.
We are laying it on the state. About almost $1.5 million. They shorted us in the end of 17 and for 2018 in several different areas. Whether it be the retail sales tax, they started taking a 2% fee off of that. Whether it be the corporate tax that would get brought back, they took 23% of that. And so it's a big budget shortfall. And no notice. I mean, they passed the budget in July. August 1st, they inform us of these cuts. And our budget time doesn't run until the end of December, so we had no time to adjust.
Well, and Mayor Acree, I mean, Moline's facing the same issues when it comes to state funding and what they keep and what they give back.
Yeah, and something that Mike didn't mention is they did a correction on some of the sales tax that they had collected, and so we actually had to repay a portion that we had already been distributed to us. So it is a challenging situation. I feel like Moline is in a very good position though, because we've got so much growth going on right now, so we're better able to make some adjustments with some future income coming in, but it certainly is challenging, and you have to make choices in how you're spending your tax dollars.
Well, I know retail is a huge part for Moline. Rock Island is looking over longingly, wishing it had that type of a base. And that seems to be where you're still seeing some great progress. I mean, we're talking about the auto dealership that's being renovated. There's still stuff going on at South Park Mall. You've got a good retail base on John Deere Road as well.
Well, and speaking of auto dealerships, our actual auto dealerships are a huge income to the city. And so we're so glad that they chose the John Deere Road corridor to position themselves on. And we would expect, not this coming season, but the season after that, after the John Deere Road construction is completed, to see even more retail pop up down, especially in the Menards area.
Yeah, because I mean that road construction project is going to be the gateway to so many different things. That's the real growth potential for Moline?
It is, yes. We're very fortunate that the state and the federal government decided to invest in that area, both for the bridge as well as John Deere Road, and we are able to reap the benefits for it.
Well, and Rock Island is trying to get some traction when it comes to retail retention, and also because you got a lot of small businesses that you want to foster, but I know you've got the entire, I hate to call it the Walmart area, but let's call it the Walmart area. And I know that you're looking for hopefully a grocery store or some type of a development that can still go there.
That's correct, and we're getting a lot closer to that. We've got some numbers put together in a format that the grocery stores understand, and with that, we have identified 5 grocery store chains that meet that criteria and that look at that as far as where they would develop. And so we have in the next 30 days set up conversations with all of them to see if we can entice them to be there and start an anchor. Once you get that foot traffic there, I really believe that the other development will happen naturally.
The other area of Rock Island where we're looking for great development still is in the downtown area. There are still buildings that are being renovated all over the place. We've got major government construction down there, which does not help the city in any way because there's no tax base because of that. But is that helping at all spur some growth downtown when you see a new police department there, a new courthouse annex? I mean, does that construction at all spur anything for downtown Rock Island?
It does bring more people there. Obviously, you got the construction people and everything else. And I-74 now and more in 2019 is going to bring some more traffic down there when they have traffic congestion there. And so that's an opportunity for us to shine and show them what we have to offer. Downtown is going to be more of the small, regional, local type of retail, which is fine. We have a very diverse community, and we should show that. And we should have some retail that to reflect what the city is.
And I know the other big concern always is residential. I mean, the ability to build more, newer housing and make sure that Illinois Quad Cities are just as competitive as Iowa Quad Cities, yet you have all the annexation issues that perhaps Iowa doesn't have. How is Rock Island going to try to tackle the creation of better, newer, affordable housing outside the downtown, because the lofts are going nuts in both cities, but other than that.
Correct. You know, we're going to, we've got identified some spots out in southwest Rock Island up on the Milan Beltway, if you went to the Beltway out there.
Which was always supposed to be, I mean, that when they put in the West Bridge, that was the whole point, was that that was going to open up
We've
stuff.
talked to the owners out that way, and several of them are interested in either selling or doing a development. We just don't want to be too premature, so we want to do some planning. 2018 will probably be more planning stage of what to do and how it's going to be presented, and then start acting on that. There's no doubt that I think Rock Island and Moline might be the same way. There is a shortage of new homes or newer homes in a price range, the $150,000 to $220,000 range. There's a shortage of those on the Illinois side, and I think there's a good call for that in demand, even with some of the negative news we've heard.
And I know, Moline, the excitement is still for the area near the airport, that could be developed into a major area for residential.
Yeah, and you know, that continues to be a focus, but there are some unique challenges there that we still need to address. We've seen a lot of demand from developers for developing in our downtown area, so we have a project that's coming in on the Collectors Center, on the footprint of the Collectors Center, and so that'll be some nice kind of apartment living. And then we've got some townhouse development that's happening closer to the edge of the downtown area. And then we've got footprints throughout the city in the residential areas of larger lots that developers are looking at breaking up to create that new housing product for the people that are interested in that. But we are, of course, working closely with the airport as well as our partners in Rock Island and the county to work on the residential development south of the airport.
Because as you well know, I mean, each of the cities, each of the Quad Cities are creating these lofts and they're just being gobbled up, but that's not really family living. It's more young professionals or even retirees. When you're thinking of a family, you're thinking in the neighborhood, near the schools and all that. Is that a major concern for Moline, is to keep improving these neighborhoods?
Well, I think that the apartment development that we're looking at the Collectors Center, or however you want to describe it, it has some dog amenities, like a dog wash embedded in it. There's a park area in it. There's some unique parking that I think will be attractive to young families. I mean, I think that the young families that are coming now are millennials transitioning to having young children, and I think they may be looking for a different product than what we have historically thought of as family living.
The other big development, of course, coming to fruition in downtown Moline is the Q. With the Westin Element Hotel poised to open. but still the big question of passenger rail, whether it's ever going to get funded and if it's actually going to come. Is that still a huge linchpin to this development, or are you not so concerned on what the federal government might do with Amtrak?
Well, we're concerned about it because we want it. I mean, we fought hard for it, and we're anxious to have passenger rail service in Moline and servicing the entire Quad Cities. It would be a good thing for us. But I don't think that particular development relies on it exclusively. I think that it's self-sustaining, and so and the developers agree with that. They think that they can build it up fine without the passenger rail, but it's an important thing for the Quad Cities as a whole.
And let's be honest, that passenger rail and the queue being in Moline certainly does help Rock Island as well. And I know that what you've said in your State of the City address was you kept underlining partnerships.
Yes.
Ways that every of the cities can work together, save money, and come up with good ideas. And you're really seeing that blossom right now.
We are, and part of it was in 17. We did some things together, and I see some great things in 18. You know, I use an example. There's a neighborhood that borders Moline and Rock Island that a street needed to be repaired. And half the street was in Moline, half was in Rock Island. We bid it, we engineered it together, bid it together, had the same contractor, and then just split our cost of it. And we were able to reduce expenses and get the street done on a quicker basis with that. So that's one example. Another one, inspectors. Rock Island, Moline's have been short an inspector or two for some health issues or whatever, and we've been able to share inspectors with them on different projects. There's another one. Moline, in the parks and recs. They do not have a building like our RIFAC building that we have, and they had some need for it in programming, and so they did some shared programming this last summer, served over 300 kids that were split between Moline and Rock Island area, with the two park and rec departments working together. So there's just a couple examples of what's happening with partnership.
And you both also have same problems, and I know during your State of the City address, once again, if I can refer to that, is that there's a real dark cloud that has you worried, and that is the police and fire pensions and the funding of that, which is more state mandated and really out of your hands. Explain to me what you think that's going to do in the next year to 5 years if you have a financial burden like that hanging over your head.
You know, the pension, there's really very little that we can do. Continue to talk to state legislators about it, but even they have tried over the years to work on the pension.
That's a huge impact on the budget, is it not?
It is. It really is. And it's increased, you know, $500,000, $600,000 each year. We have a mandate to have it 90% funded by 2041. Our budget shows it 100% funded by then. But it's a large burden that I don't see any light at the end of that tunnel at this point.
And we're seeing in both cities, because Moline has to face the same increases.
Yeah, I think that we're all worried about that, including the recipients of the pension.
Yes.
But one of the things that I think is a bright side of it is that you make an estimation of what you expect to have your investment have in returns. And fortunately, because the stock market is doing well, those expectations should be met, which is very helpful. Then you're not trying to bridge the gap of what you thought the investments were going to make and what they actually made.
Expecting a good year in 2018.
I'm rooting for it.
What's going to be your goal for this year?
You know, we have a lot of things going right now. One of the important things is for our community to navigate the construction that's going on and make sure that the businesses that are impacted by it are impacted as minimally as we can possibly create the situation for. So there's a lot of talk about that.
Kind of a nice problem to have, but a problem nonetheless.
It really is, but it's something that we have to be focused on to make sure that it doesn't hurt our businesses.
Mayor Tomes. Take care of the infrastructure.
Yeah.
But that's exactly right. Mine is obvious. I'll say the obvious. We're shortfall on the retail sales tax and property tax income. And so it's going to be, everybody talks about the 11th Street project. And so a goal of mine is to at least have commitments there. You're not going to probably see shovels on the ground until 2019. Just the way the cycle is for a lot of these retailers, it takes that kind of time. But to have some commitments down there to be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, along with working with some light industrial. We have some good opportunities in our industrial parks. We've had some interest in those, and so to see some of that improve with more jobs and increased property taxes.
Would make a good year.
It'd make a great year.
Mayor Tomes, Mayor Acree, thank you both for joining us. We do appreciate it. And have a good 2018.
Thank you
very much.
Now it's time to open up your calendars. We've got some great ideas if you want to spend a little time enjoying the cities. Here's Laura Adams, Out and About.
This is Out and About for January 15th through 21st. Hi, I'm Laura Adams. Dust off your thinking caps, grab your friends, and bring them to St. Ambrose Trivia Night, January 20th at the Rogalski Center. Or check out the free Health and Happiness Fair at the Bettendorf Public Library. Learn about massage, acupuncture, exercise, holistic health, and more. Enjoy Family Fun Night at the Putnam Museum, January 19th. All activities in the Grand Lobby are free to the public. The German American Heritage Center presents Butcher, Bankers, and Brewers, German Business in Davenport. Open Source Improv takes to the speakeasy stage. This is improv for adults only. And speaking of improv, bring the family to the Establishment Theater, home of comedy sports. When an overworked mother and her teenage daughter magically swap bodies, they have just 24 hours before Mom's big wedding day to put things right again. It's Circa 21's new musical Freaky Friday, opening January 17th. The spine-tingling story of a ghostly woman who haunts the aging Arthur Kipps, Woman in Black, finishes its run at Playcrafters Barn Theater on the 21st. Auditions for the 2018 season of the Black Box Theater take place January 20th from 1 to 3. Check out their website. Auditions for the Quad City Music Guild's production of Catch Me If You Can is coming up the 20th and 21st. They're looking for 20 to 25 people. For more information, visit wqpt.org.
Thank you, Laura. Quad City musician Chris Dunn has joined us in the past with his performances at the River Music Experience. We caught up with him when he performed on the community stage. Chris Dunn with All of Us.
Someone here has gotta see right through their fantasy, see right through their lies. Someone here has gotta tell it, there's a stink, now don't you smell it? Might as well be me. All across this stolen land, there's always someone who understands. It takes all of us, all of us, all of us to turn the tide. It takes all of us, all of us. Someone's gotta know right from wrong. Someone's gotta sing a justice song. So here we are. Thousands come from near and far, by foot, by plane, by bus, by car, to greet this Georgia day. In our cause we are united, from the truth we got to hide it, close the S away. We came here to tell their crimes, we came here to cross their line. It takes all of us, all of us, all of us to turn the tide. It takes all of us, all of us, all of us to turn the tide. So here we are. We came here with memory and visions of how things ought to be, a yearning to be free. Free of violence, greed, and hatred, replacing lies with something sacred for all humanity. Well, shut them down and then go on to sing another freedom song. It takes all of us, all of us, all of us to turn the tide. It takes all of us, all of us, all of us to turn the tide. It takes all of us, all of us, all of us to turn the tide. It takes all of us, all of us, all of us to turn the tide. So here we are.
Chris Dunn with All of Us. It's prime time for the American bald eagle in the cities. Over the past few weeks, bird counters have recorded hundreds of eagles swooping down at the locks and dams from Dubuque through the cities south to Quincy. But the season is not over, and some prime viewing times are still ahead. And joining us is Ranger Mark McKean with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Thanks for joining us. We're talking about great time right now. I mean, we were saying that when it's really, really cold, the birds are really in great number. Now it fluctuates.
It does from week to week. Cold brings in more, usually ice to the water and the river, of course, so it kind of forces the birds to congregate where they can find open water, which typically is below the dams. And yeah, with the warm up we've seen this week, numbers are down a little bit from the prior week, but not by much. So there's still a lot of them out there.
Well, and for those people who aren't from the cities that may not understand this, the reason why they come to the locks and dams is because it's easy eating.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So yeah, with the water flowing underneath the rollers and the different styles of gates on the dams, pretty much creates that turbulence on the downriver side, which keeps the river pretty much always open for them. So yeah, it's easy pickings for them. Not only are fish stirred up,
they're all stirred up, they're all stunned, they don't know what's going on. The eagles just simply swoop down and they got it all figured out.
Got it.
What does it say about the population right now? Because I know the bird count had stopped for a period of time, and then I think it was picked up, I want to say in 2006, just to show how well the eagle population is progressing.
Yeah, the populations is doing pretty good. I mean, from year to year it fluctuates, and a lot of that has to do with weather in the area here. So the past 2 winters have been pretty warm, so the counts at the different locks have been a little bit down, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's a bad thing as far as population. It just means they're spread out a little more.
Because the health of the population is still there.
Yeah, the health of the population is still there, is still good. The bald eagles are no longer on the endangered species list, so that's a good sign, and they haven't been for over 10 years now. Yeah. So yeah, the health and the population is doing good.
Now on Arsenal Island, the Corps has ongoing bird watching tours that you can actually help people pretty much know what to look for and which direction to look.
Yeah, definitely. Because of our proximity to the dam, we offer clock tower and eagle watching tours. So we do a little history of the Clock Tower building, which is our Rock Island District headquarters for the Corps of Engineers, and we get to kind of add in a little bit of eagle watching as well, which brings a lot of folks in, so it's kind of a combo tour. But yeah, we can tell them where to look at, what to look for. There's some folks that don't know that maybe the difference between an adult and a juvenile. They think it's male, female, and so we can kind of point out some of those biological differences or difference in the color pattern, that sort of thing too. So.
Well, but if somebody is interested, it's free of charge, or is there a nominal fee?
Nope, free charge.
Free charge. Mm-hmm. But you got to get on Arsenal Island, so you want people to be prepared for that.
Yeah, and so to get on the island, you want to proceed through the Moline Gate, check in at their visitor control center, so the security folks, and basically you just have to be issued a pass to get on the Arsenal, which isn't a hard thing at all, and they've been issuing passes that are good for up to a year. So a little bit of time, you know, maybe 10 minutes of your time to go through that process, and then you're good for the year, so you can come back and visit the different sites that are on the Arsenal. So just allow for a little bit extra time if you don't already have a pass, but it's not too hard to get on the Arsenal.
I was reading through some of the tips that you were giving to people that might go and look for the birds on their own. And one of the things that was said is actually it's better to stay in your car. Is that more just so that you're not disturbing or the birds don't see you and they don't fly away?
It could be both. There's a lot of places, especially around here in the Quad City areas, where you can do fantastic viewing from your car, so you can stay warm, right?
You know, very much so.
Maybe roll the window down, take a snapshot, something like that. But also from the bird standpoint, you know, you want to give them a little bit of room, well, quite a bit of room. You know, you don't want to be sneaking up right under the tree, you know, and shooting, you know, camera shots, anything like that, because they are focused on feeding and eating and that sort of thing. So we got to give them a healthy distance too. So in that regard, sometimes it might be better to stay in the vehicle. You know, you're not a lot of scuffling and noise going on underneath, but you know, outdoor viewing is fine too. It's kind of whatever your preference, as long as you're allowing to let the eagles do what they're naturally going to be doing.
Well, and the habitat here is very strong. I mean, the wooded areas, I know that there was construction of some temporary, almost tree-like structures in order to make sure that the eagles had a place to roost, but for the most part, this is a pretty good area for the eagle population to land.
Yeah.
I mean, the key is keeping the wetlands open. The key is to make sure that areas are left abandoned, non-construction areas.
Right. So they do need natural habitat to roost in, perch from, that sort of thing. So a lot of the trees in the area, of course, that are right on the river corridor, river banks are important. And so some of the areas, like we were talking earlier, down south in the Burlington-Gladstone area, where they're seeing, you know, lots of eagle counts, at least this year, there's simply just more habitat. You know, miles upon miles of trees. We're in the Quad Cities, you know, a little more limited because there's a lot more business and, you know, industry, urban area, of course. So, but as long as there's those habitat there, you're going to see the birds, you know, hanging out and using those perches to hunt and fish from.
So as we get later into January and into February, the population obviously it becomes smaller as they go further north. Where's the best places to start looking?
Well, the simple answer is just go to the river, right? Yeah. Specifically, go to the different dams that are there in the Quad City areas.
Even into February. Even
into February, yeah. And a lot of it depends on weather, that sort of thing, what the eagles are going to want to do. So if it, you know, is kind of an extended colder winter, eagles might be hanging out a little longer than maybe they typically would. But typically by the end of February into middle of March, we start to see kind of lower and lower numbers as they start heading usually back up north elsewhere. Yeah, I'd say check out the locks and dams. Lock and Dam 14 is always a real popular photographer's
Seemingly so,
point.
Yeah, in the LeClaire area.
Definitely, yep. Nice long boardwalk there right below Lock and Dam 14. This year 15 has been a really good area, and you have a lot of different choices at Lock 15. You can go on the Davenport side, get right by the dam with the big public parking there. You can go down by Schreiber Park. Or you can come on the Arsenal itself around the Fort Armstrong area, and of course visit us at the Visitor Center, and you know, hopefully we'll have some birds for you to view.
Ranger Mike McKean, thanks so much for joining us. Army Corps of Engineers. Still plenty of time to catch those eagles.
Definitely, definitely.
Always.
Thanks.
WQPT is just days away from Champagne on the Rocks. Tickets now on sale for our premier fundraising event. You can join us at the Davenport Outing Club Friday, January 26th for dinner and auction and a chance for you to win a fine piece of jewelry, plus a live auction where you can bid on getaways, Iowa football tickets, a whole lot more as well. Head to our website, WQPT.org. See some of the other items that could be yours at Champagne on the Rocks, January 26th at the Davenport Outing Club. On the air, on the radio, on the web, and on your mobile device. Thanks for taking some time to join us as we talk about the issues on the cities.
Public Affairs programming on WQPT is brought to you by the Sing Group at Merrill Lynch, serving the wealth management needs of clients in the region for over 25 years.